And let's start with a little crossover. The Caitlin Clark NBA crossover, Caitlin Clark's debut as an NBA analyst on NBC. So the ratings were just released for that Lakers-Knicks game on Sunday, and it was the most watched regular season Sunday night NBA game since 2002. They had 4.5 million viewers on NBC, and it peaked at 5 million.
Caitlin Clark just pulled off something wild. NBC handed her a microphone for one NBA game, and the network lost their minds over the numbers that came rolling in. We're talking records getting shattered and executives already begging for more. The woman isn't even on the court, and she's still breaking the internet. Let's talk about what actually happened and why NBC can't stop talking about bringing her back. Before we get into the crazy numbers, let me know in the comments. Did you actually tune in to watch Caitlin as an analyst, or are you just hearing about this now?
It was up there with Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, and Reggie Miller. But this was the most watched game of the season so far across all networks except for the tip-off games and also Christmas Day. And NBC actually talked about Caitlin Clark being a part of the broadcast. It said Rick Cordella spoke positively about Clark's debut, noting that she did a good job and handled the role with ease. He highlighted her understanding of the game and her ability to communicate clearly, two qualities that translate well from the court to the broadcast booth. They said that Clark was well prepared and comfortable in the setting, something that stood out given the size of the audience and the spotlight that comes with an NBA national broadcast. And I feel like that was a given. Like, I couldn't see Caitlin Clark.
All right, so here's the deal. NBC aired their Sunday night basketball doubleheader, and the viewership numbers came back looking absolutely ridiculous. The first game between the Lakers and Knicks at Madison Square Garden pulled in 4.5 million viewers across NBC and Telemundo. Yeah, you heard that right. 4.5 million people. That made it the most watched Sunday night regular season NBA game since 2002, excluding Christmas Day games, obviously. Now, here's the thing. The NBA hasn't even had regularly scheduled national broadcasts on Sunday nights until this season. So, yeah, there's some context to that record, but let's be real for a second. 4.5 million viewers is 4.5 million viewers, no matter how you slice it. And you know what the common factor was? Caitlin Clark sitting at that analyst desk.
And I couldn't see Caitlin Clark being nervous in that situation because she has been on the biggest stages throughout her entire career, especially at Iowa. If you want to talk about that Iowa national championship game against South Carolina, they had over 20 million people who tuned into that game. So it seems like with Caitlin Clark, she rises to the occasion. But NBC also said that they are planning to bring Clark back later this season. They confirmed that she is scheduled to appear as an analyst for the Knicks versus Thunder on March 29th. Hopefully by that time, they're not talking about the CBA.
The woman has this ridiculous ability to turn everything she touches into gold. It's honestly kind of wild to watch. People were showing up in comment sections everywhere, saying stuff like they tuned in specifically for Caitlin and ended up actually watching the whole game. Some folks even admitted it was the first NBA game they bothered watching all season. That's the kind of pull she has right now.
Network aired the first two games of its Sunday night basketball franchise last weekend, and doubleheader delivered record-setting viewership. Sunday night's first game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks from Madison Square Garden averaged 4.5 million viewers across NBC and Telemundo. Oh my goodness, 4.5? Making it the most watched Sunday night regular season game since 2002.
We've never really seen this type of impact from someone in women's basketball before. Sure, people talk about Michael Jordan's influence back in the day, but most of us were too young to really understand what was happening in real time. With Caitlin, though, we're watching it unfold right in front of us, and the metrics don't lie. This whole situation actually connects back to something the NBA has been trying to make happen. They've been wanting Caitlin to come over and compete in their three-point contest, maybe set up some kind of showdown with Stephen Curry. And honestly, it makes perfect sense why. The NBA's own viewership numbers have been sliding. So having someone who can actually move the needle like this is exactly what they need for events like All-Star Weekend.
Actually goes back to where the NBA was saying they needed Caitlin Clark to come over and shoot in the three-point contest, or at least have that contest against Stephen Curry, because they need her. They need her, man. Their numbers has been dwindling as well. So I can imagine they're thinking like, hey, look, we have a hot commodity. Let's get her over and let's get some viewership going for the All-Star Weekend.
That's why it was so weird watching people try to turn this into some battle between men's and women's basketball. Like Duncan trying to frame it as this whole gender war thing where the men need to come over to the women's side. Come on now. That's not what this is about at all. It's about getting the hottest name in basketball right now to help boost viewership. The NBA has been propping up the WNBA financially since it started. Why wouldn't they want to tap into what's working? Look, it's totally fine that Caitlyn didn't want to do the three-point contest in the NBA for her first time. That's her choice, and it makes sense. But trying to twist it into some weird statement about gender politics is just ridiculous. We all know who the most popular basketball player is right now across both leagues. It's Caitlin Clark. Period. So, yeah, it only makes sense to have her show up for events where you need eyeballs on screens. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Rick Cordella, the president of NBC Sports, came out and basically said they want Caitlyn back for way more than just that one March 29th appearance they already announced. The man was out here checking every box on his list after her first broadcast. He wasn't treating this like some one-time publicity stunt, either. He's talking about how like she's got a genuine future in sports media. Cordella went on record praising how Caitlyn handled the role. He talked about her understanding of the game and her ability to communicate clearly, which are obviously huge for someone sitting in the analyst chair. What stood out to him was how well prepared and comfortable she looked despite the massive audience and all the pressure that comes with a national NBA broadcast. The woman showed up and handled business like she'd been doing it for years. NBC Sports already confirmed she's scheduled to appear as an analyst for the Knicks vs Thunder game on March 29th. But then Cordella added that he hopes to see more of her moving forward. That's not just casual praise you throw around to be polite. That's the president of a major sports network signaling genuine interest in building something long-term. No formal expanded role has been announced yet, but reading between the lines here isn't exactly difficult. So yeah, we might actually see Caitlyn working that broadcast booth on a regular basis. And honestly, that would be pretty cool, especially considering all the chaos happening with the WNBA right now. We don't even know if there's going to be a season this year with all the CBA nonsense going on. This might end up being the only way fans get their Caitlyn Clark fix if the players in the league can't figure their stuff out. Speaking of the CBA situation, that whole mess got even messier yesterday. Ramona Shelburne dropped what's supposedly the league's proposal, though I'm pretty sure ESPN leaked it and she just posted it on Twitter. It's kind of funny seeing a document marked confidential floating around everywhere. But here we are. The proposal talks about substantially increasing player salaries to reflect recent and future business growth while promoting league profitability and maintaining incentives for investment. Sounds nice and corporate, right? They laid out projections showing the Supermax salary going from $250,000 last year up to potentially $1.2 million when the new deal kicks in, then climbing to $1.8 million over 5 years. They even included a higher revenue scenario that adds 5% to those projections, putting the max at $2.4 million by year 5. Let's just sit with that for a second. $2.4 million for playing 4 months of basketball. That's genuinely amazing money for WNBA players. Seems pretty fair to me. But apparently this proposal has been called a slap in the face by some people. I don't really see how, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. I guess the average player salary would jump from $120,000 in 2026 to $540,000 if they sign the CBA, then hit $780,000 by the end of 5 years. Under the best-case scenario, with that extra 5% growth, the league average could hit $1 million. $1 million average salary across the entire league for 4 months of work. And people are mad about this. Here's what I don't get. This is a 5-year deal. 5 years. After that, they can renegotiate and push for whatever they want if the league grows like everyone hopes it will. Nobody's saying this is a one-time thing and you never get to negotiate again. Just take what's on the table, prove the league can sustain this level of growth over the next 5 years, and then you'll have real concrete numbers to point to when asking for more. Why are we acting like this is the final offer humanity will ever see? If everything goes well during those 5 years, the players will have actual leverage backed by data. But turning down what seems like a solid deal while there's no guarantee the league even plays this season. That's a choice, I guess. There were some weird things in the proposal, though. They want to eliminate testing for marijuana, which is cool, fine. But then in the same breath, they are adding new treatment programs for marijuana or alcohol abuse. Does that make sense? You're not going to test for it, but you're creating treatment programs for it. That's some contradictory nonsense right there. They are also shortening disqualification periods under the anti-drug program and offering complimentary all-star tickets for all players, which I thought they already got, but apparently not. And giving out free WNBA League Pass subscriptions. That last one is kind of wild. These players have to pay for League Pass like the rest of us. That's rough. One thing I actually liked was the addition of 2 developmental player roster spots. There's a catch, though, because I think those players can only suit up for 8 games or something like that. But hey, I'll take it. 12 players on an active roster is just not enough. Now, they'd have 14 total. And even if those extra 2 only play limited games, it's movement in the right direction. That's really what I care about when it comes to the WNBA. More players on rosters and better referees. All this other contract stuff. The players in the league can hash that out however they want. But get more bodies on those benches and get some refs who actually know what they are doing. That's what's going to improve the product on the court. Back to Caitlin, though, because that's really what this is all about. The woman is a walking content machine. She doesn't even have to be playing basketball to generate massive interest and move ratings. NBC saw what happened with one appearance and immediately started planning how to get her back. That should tell you everything you need to know about her value right now. The timing of all this is pretty interesting, too. The WNBA is in total disarray with CBA negotiations. There's a real chance the season doesn't happen. And here's Caitlin proving she can thrive in a completely different role. If the WNBA season falls apart, she's got options. NBC clearly wants her. Other networks would probably line up if she were available. She's not stuck waiting around for the WNBA to get its act together. That's leverage. Real leverage. The kind that matters when you're trying to build a career that extends beyond just playing. Caitlin's showing everyone that her value isn't limited to what she does on a basketball court. She can analyze, she can broadcast, and she can draw viewers regardless of the format. That's rare. What's also rare is someone in women's basketball having this kind of crossover appeal. We had great players before, obviously, legends of the game who deserve all the respect in the world. But this level of mainstream attention, this ability to pull millions of viewers for a regular season NBA game just by sitting at a desk, that's different. That's something we haven't really seen before. The NBA knows it, too. They've been trying to figure out how to stop the bleeding with their own viewership issues. Ratings have been down. Engagement hasn't been where they want it. And along comes Caitlin Clark, proving she can deliver an audience. Of course, they want her involved in All-Star Weekend. Of course, they want her doing more broadcasts. She's solving a problem for them. Some people want to make this complicated and turn it into some statement about gender or respect or whatever else. But it's actually pretty simple. Caitlin Clark gets people to watch. Networks want people to watch. And a story. Everything else is just noise. What happens next is going to be interesting to watch. If the WNBA season actually happens, Caitlin goes back to doing what she does best on the court. If it doesn't, well, she's already shown she's got a future in broadcasting whenever she wants it. Either way, she's going to be fine. More than fine, actually. NBC isn't going to let her slip away after seeing these numbers. They are going to keep finding ways to get her in front of cameras. Maybe it's more NBA games. Maybe it's college basketball. Maybe it's something else entirely. But they are going to make it happen because the return on investment is too obvious to ignore. The CBA situation is still going to be a mess for a while. Probably both sides are dug in. Both sides think they are right. And neither seems particularly motivated to compromise quickly. That's how these things usually go. Lots of posturing, lots of leaks to the media, and lots of people claiming the other side is being unreasonable. Standard negotiation tactics. But while all that plays out, Caitlin just keeps winning. She's not sitting around waiting for the WNBA to figure itself out. She's out here breaking viewership records and getting network executives to publicly beg for more of her time. That's how you control your own narrative and build your brand beyond just one league or one role. The 4.5 million viewers for that NBC broadcast is a number that's going to stick. It's going to come up in every conversation about Caitlin's value. It's going to be referenced in contract negotiations, in partnership deals, and in everything because it proves something concrete. It proves she moves the needle. Not in theory, not in potential, but in actual, measurable results. That's the kind of proof that matters in this business. Networks don't care about hypotheticals. They care about ratings and revenue. Caitlin delivered both. Now she's got options and leverage and a whole lot of people very interested in keeping her happy and involved in whatever projects they are working on. So there you have it. Caitlin Clark broke viewership records without even touching a basketball. And now NBC can't stop talking about bringing her back. The WNBA better hope they get their CBA sorted out soon because she's proving she doesn't need them nearly as much as they need her. If you enjoyed this breakdown, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop your thoughts in the comments about whether you think this CBA offer is fair or trash.